guests, ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome to today's graduation ceremony for Setanta College. A huge welcome to our guests today who are supporting their family. Also as well, for those streaming in, you're very, very welcome. I hope you enjoy the ceremony. So just a few things before we get going. Just the emergency exit. We have one here on the left at the back of the building and on the right hand side. So if we are asked to leave, if we could do so in a calm and orderly fashion. Okay, so firstly, I'd like to start the academic procession. So. So firstly, I'd like to introduce the academic faculty of Setanta College. So we have Professor Ian Jeffries, Academic Director. We have Dr. Micheál Cahill, Vice President of Strategy and Registrar. We have Dr. David McHugh, Programme Leader. We have Dr. Laura Coyne, Programme Leader. We have Dr. Sean Hogan, Chief Executive. We've got Mr. Des Ryan, Director of Coaching and Performance, and Mr. Ronan Hogan, Programme Leader. So just to give you an order of proceedings, very shortly we will have our conferral address and then the ceremony will start. And how that will work is I will call the name of the course and the name of the student, and if they would like to come down, Professor Ian Jeffries will be there to give you your scroll, and then there'll be a picture taken. Okay, so moving on to the conferral address, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Professor Ian Jeffries. And just to give you a bit of a background on him, he is known worldwide. He has written a number of books and is an expert on strength, agility and conditioning. And he has worked in numerous countries around the world. Setanta College is very lucky to have him. So I'd like to invite him to do the conferral address.
Very much. When you hear it like that, you sound good. The reality is sometimes quite far from that. It's an honor for me to be here to welcome everybody to what is the highlight of the Setanta College calendar, the graduation, our chance to celebrate the achievements of the class of 2022. It's also an honor for me to represent Setanta in the absence of our president, Dr. Liam Hennessy. So this really is a great thing for me. I'd like to welcome our trustees, our honoured guests, our faculty, our Setanta College colleagues, but more importantly, our graduates. You did it. You are the class of 22. I also want to welcome the family and friends, because no journey is ever done alone. And I guess without the support of you, our graduates would not be sitting here. You've probably shown patience, understanding, a huge dedication to helping them, put up with triumphs and tantrums, ups and downs, ins and outs as this journey has gone along. Probably your journey, our students, this year has been unlike any other. COVID made a massive difference to the way we as Setanta College operate. The highlights of what we do really, really well, our residentials, our workshops, our practicals, those were disrupted to a great extent. So you've shown, and to achieve within this has been a real great achievement on your own behalf, and congratulations to everybody. what you join now is an ever-growing Setanta family. We have graduates here today from all around the world. We have many who are unable to make it because of international travel restrictions. And what we are seeing is the impact that Setanta graduates are making on the world of performance. Importantly, at multiple levels. We've got graduates working at elite level with very well-known sports organizations, but we've also got graduates making a difference at local level. And that is something that our vision and our mission of Setanta is to make a difference, to impact upon health, wellness and performance at a local as well as a global level. And it's great to see our Setanta family doing that. I am sure that the class of 22 will have a similar impact on the profession. Our journey is ever continuing. There have been changes at Setanta, and I want to take this opportunity of thanking people who you will have interacted with over your studies. Thomas Callanan, the registrar, Kevin Smith, Student Services, Joe Warren, the program leader for the MSc in performance coaching, and Luke Jordan, who was program leader for the certificates and the diploma courses. Clearly they've made an impact, and it's important that I thank them for their contributions. Our journey will always continue. We are constantly looking to make things better. What we hope is if you came back in 2 or 3 years, that you say, ooh, that's better than what we had. That's part of what we are. But what you leave with, I hope, is more than a qualification. What I hope you leave with is a way of thinking, a way of doing that holds you in good stead in the next part of your journey. Your journey into employment, into different employment, into changes of employment, whatever that journey is, what we hope is the Setanta family will be there to support you. Not just faculty, where there is an immense amount of knowledge, but also in the group of students that you have got to know. And what was so lovely was to see the joyous residential workshop in Thurles almost a year ago, where we finally were able to get together. And what was so clear there is how you will continue to learn from yourselves, from your interactions. So I'd encourage you to stay in touch, make the most of the family that now surrounds you. But today is a day of congratulations. Congratulate everybody on their fantastic achievements, and to wish you the very best professionally and personally in the next stage of the journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ian. Okay, so we're going to start the ceremony now. So I will, as we said before, I will call out the name of the course, the student. So if the student could come down, get their scroll and have their picture taken, that would be great. So we'll get going with that. Okay. So the first course is a certificate in fitness and conditioning, and the first student is Clodagh Bradley. And the next student is Matt Dillon. Mark Hannon. Please welcome Dara Howley.
Congratulations. Well done.
And the next student is Michael Kiley. And now we move on to the certificate in Youth Athletic Development. And the first student is Brendan Hanley. Okay. The next student is Siobhan Hurley.
Congratulations. Well done.
And next we have Brian Moran. Following Brian, we have Katie O'Riordan. And next we have Fergal Towie.
Congratulations, second.
Please welcome Sarah Waters. Now we move on to the certificate in strength and conditioning. The first student is Seamus Delaney. And next is Garrett McLaughlin. And next we move into the BSc in strength and conditioning, and the first student is Daniel Brack. And next we have Stephen Brannigan. Please welcome Sam Carey. And next up is Cian Evans. And next we have Oscar Fatul. Next, Road Fay. Please welcome Wesley Kuipers. And next up we have Aaron O'Flaherty. Next we have Andrew O'Hanlon. And finally in that category, Alan Sherlock. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the MSc in Performance Coaching. And the first student is Robinson Benter. Next up, we have Lawrence Ford. Next, please welcome Gary Brennan. Ian Collins. Next is Shane Curran. Please welcome Ty Fanning. Next we have Daniel Ford. Next up is Aaron Fox. Next we have Sean Glynn. Dean Lester. Next up is Owen Moran. Next we have Derek Morris. Next we have Cian O'Dea. Please welcome John O'Flynn. Next we have Austin O'Malley. Please welcome Caitlin O'Lahan. Next we have Mark Remy. Now we have Gal Ribish. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a number of students who couldn't make today, and they will be conferred in absentia, and I will call their names out if you could give them a round of applause when I finish that. The first in Certificate in Fitness and Conditioning, Craig Adams, Tino Best, Paddy Cadell, Lisa Corcoran, Mark Enright, Maureen Finnerty, Undelwa Gwala, Sean Kildun, Neldus Kruger, Karen McCann, Jamie McDonald, Colin McElligott, Katrina McGrath, Niall McMorrow, Brian Noonan, Oisin O'Slatera, Darren O'Shea, Fiona Rochford, Paddy Ryan, Teresa Toohey, Francois Az, Kieran Wallace, and then in the Certificate in Youth Athletic Development, Marianne Breen, Cathal Burns, Michelle Collis, Ian Duggan, John Hartnett, David Heaney, Michael Hurley, Shane McGilligan, Jonathan McKenna, Mike Nile, John Paul O'Neill, Michael Oisin Quigley, Anne-Marie Rogan, Colin Ryan, Blonde Sheridan, and Fiona Staunton. And in the Certificate in Strength and Conditioning, we have Kieran Cleary, Owen Crowan, Stephen Dawson, Henry Fingleton, Conor Finnerty, Owen Flanagan, Conor Floyd, Liam Harris, John Paul Evers, Brendan McKeough, Sean O'Brien, Rory O'Connor, and Don O'Driscoll. In the Higher Certificate in Strength and Conditioning, we have Alan Keneally, Barry Loftus, David O'Connor, and Anne-Marie Power. The BSc in Strength and Conditioning, we have Sean Coffey, James Peter Gaskell, Yanis Kapsalis, Ronan Kevill, Kevin Mulcahy, Shane Rogers, Nicholas Rubini, Kim Turner, and Benjamin Vetcher. In the MSc in Performance Coaching, Lakshay Batra, Mohammed Hidayat bin Osman, Ian Bonnet, Emmett Carey, Vishal Shetraker, Matt Iden, Varun Ghosh, Michael Hoffman, Peter Hughes, Rowan Kotze, John Lane, Tanuya Lele, Pranav Mandlekar, Michael Matz, Jonah Mondlock, Rachel O'Dwyer, Megan Parker, Mark Potts, David Ray, Subhash Shankar, Himat Singh, Neil White, Olivia Withers, Dustin Yancey. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is those who are going to be conferred in absentia. So maybe a big round of applause for them. And if you're looking in, massive congratulations to you. So next up, it gives me massive pleasure to introduce our guest speaker. Our guest speaker I have known for over 20 years in my role in the IRFU, and David Fagan has worked with Leinster Rugby for over 27 years. He is absolutely revered in his field. He is highly, highly respected by players past and present, and many of the players that you see on TV representing Ireland basically wouldn't have been at that level without the help of David Fagan. He's actually, outside of rugby, he also coached in 2 Olympics, in Barcelona in 1992 and in Beijing in 2008. Please be upstanding for David Fagan.
Thanks very much for the welcome like that. It's fairly daunting when people lay out what you've done in the past. I've always been about what you've done in the future. Today we're here to celebrate what you've achieved, which is a fantastic achievement. I'm honoured to be here to help you celebrate that day. It's a fantastic achievement, and as Ian said, it's not only an achievement for yourselves, it's an achievement for your families and friends as well who've helped you get there. So when I was asked to come down to talk to you today, I wanted to talk about why I started coaching. So why coaching? What interested me in coaching? As a former international athlete, when I was competing on the international stage, in Ireland, the exposure to coaching wasn't huge. We didn't have many coaches here. I was a shot putter and discus thrower, and that's where my background came. So we had very little exposure. But when I became an international, obviously in training camps and competing abroad, I got exposure to international coaches and methods. We can't ask, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I, train like this? And it gave me the desire to actually go and coach and help athletes achieve and actually learn as much as I could possibly. And 36 years later, I'm still learning. It's something you never stop, and that's what my desire about coaching was how can I help an athlete become the best that they possibly can do. Okay. So when did it start? For me, in 1986, I was appointed national coach in athletics, in the shot put and discus, and then later to be national throws coach. Again, we didn't have much money, we didn't have much facilities, we basically were flying by the seat of our pants, but what could we achieve? We hadn't achieved much through the 70s and 80s in terms of major championships and everything else. But in '92 we managed to get 4 throwers there. In 1993 the World Championships we had 2 in the top 10. For me, that was, we didn't win medals, but we certainly got our achievements up there, and competing at the largest stage possible was fantastic. So I spent 10 years doing that, and at that stage was looking to see whether we could move into something else full time. I was at the same time I was doing strength and conditioning. In the early years, and just to actually kind of go through it a little bit, the early years, most coaches, county teams and that, they'd be looking for the short-term fix. 8 weeks to championships. Midday, get them fit. Midday, get them strong. You're going, well, it's 8 weeks, it's not a huge amount of time. Facilities and equipment wasn't like they are now. Very old school type of equipment. As you can see, like the picture, it was basic stopwatch and what's called a word processor. A lot of you won't remember what a word processor was, but that's what we did our programs on. You guys have laptops now. We all use laptops now and everything else, but that's what it was. We didn't have anything else. And that's one message I wanted for you guys to take from today. You adapt to whatever is put in front of you. A lot of you will go out into teams and areas where you won't have all the bells and whistles, but you adapt to what you're given and you actually make it better. Okay? So in 1995, moved to Leinster Rugby. The game had gone professional. And for me, it was the chance to work in strength and conditioning full time. That was something that really excited me. The chance to work with players day in, day out, make changes, and develop myself as a coach as well as the players. The training age of the players at that stage, even though they were full-time professionals, started at 0. The level wasn't great, but it was where we started, and that gave us the challenge to actually improve that hugely. Main role at that time is to change the training age of the players, to actually kind of try and help them develop as much as possible, but also educate the coaches and administrators. And by administrators, I mean we had to educate the committees around the RFU and around Leinster about what we needed to actually change that. So that was a longer process, but it was something that we set about doing. One of the milestones that came was, you see a very old picture of me in the corner there. In 2001, we played a Celtic Cup final against Munster in Lansdowne Road. We got 35,000 people through the gate. And we realised that the professional game could really survive, because we didn't know till that point that it really could survive. But it also gave confidence in the administrators that they could provide more facilities. They could actually improve our facilities. We got video analysis, players became better conditioned. Every province then had 2 strength and conditioning coaches in full-time employment. That made a big difference to us. And in terms of where we went from there, I spent 10 years to 12 years kind of working with the pro team. But we've gone as far as we could, really, unless we did something different. And it was through Liam Hennessy, who was head of fitness at the time of the RQ. I sat down with him and I said, I don't see it going much, improving much, unless we change the pathway for the young players. So this is what we wanted to do. This is what we wanted to set out, was change the training age for the players entering into professional rugby. That was significant, because as I said to you, the players entering into professional rugby at 0 training age. How do we change that? What can we do? So we set up something called the Sub Academy in 2007. Again, the mission statement was to change the training age of players entering professional rugby. How do we do it? Initially, we just had a porta cap. Again, it was like professional rugby. It was like starting over at scratch again. We had nothing. We had no budget. There was no staff. It was just myself. Could we change it? Yes, we could. And out of that 2007 kind of group, I just put two players up there. There's many more who became full-time and actually played for Ireland, but in those 2, you're looking at Sean O'Brien and Keane Healy. They came through and trained in that porta cabin that you see there. We had nothing else. We literally had a few weights. We had that room, and that's all we had. We had a field beside it, and we trained. But they got a grounding. They improved their training age. By the time Keane was 20 years of age, he played senior rugby for Leinster, which was unheard of. We'd given a platform for him to actually improve and to get better. Sean O'Brien, same way. And thankfully, they both had long and distinguished careers. But also, we said about educating the schools and clubs, because at that stage, no school within Ireland had strength and conditioning coaches working with players. So we had to try and educate the schools and clubs about trying to get coaches on board and trying to introduce strength and conditioning to the younger player. We also set up 5 regions to accommodate the club players. We put coaches out there 2 nights a week coaching to actually get out and reach out to clubs around Leinster. So where are we now? This is just for the Sub Academy. You know, you saw the porta cabins that we were using. This is a purpose-built training centre, which was built 3 years ago, but was 10 years in the planning, and took a long time to get funding and so on. We have a state-of-the-art gym. We have a video analysis suite, meeting rooms, kitchen, gym. But most importantly, 65 to 70% of the players now in the Irish team have come through this base, whether it be through the porta cabins or through the new base that we have. And that's a big stat. It's a huge part of development. We spend between 2 and 5 years developing those players in that place. Okay, advances in technology, GPS for all players, output sports sensor measurements, force tests. We use everything we can. But also it's very important to not lose sight of the fact that sometimes you don't have those. And you adapt. What else can you do? And that's a very important message for you guys to take home, is that adapt to your surroundings. adapt to what your needs are. Don't walk into a place and expect all of those and this is there straight away. Sometimes you have to educate the people around you, try and get what you wish for, okay? So that's just an overview of the staff that's there. As I said to you, in 2007 I was the only one there. That staff there is, in the rugby is led by Trevor Hogan, himself former international, great player. We also have full-time physio, full-time analyst, 3 strength and conditioning coaches who are full-time with us, along with 5 part-time which come underneath, and then we also have a full-time nutritionist. That's a huge amount of staff just for the pathway. We also now have, in the last few weeks, taken on board 5 part-time physios that are in the region as well. So the staff is growing. But more importantly, our industry is growing. So you can see the strength and conditioning coaches now in every school, the strength and conditioning coaches in here. We have 8 there. We also have 3 up with the senior squad. So we've 11 strength and conditioning coaches there. So that's a big difference to when I started first. Okay, so what's the lessons learned? As I said, we've got to be adaptable to the environment we enter, adapt to the surroundings. Also, Ian touched on it in terms of networking. Networking is a huge part of it. Networking isn't just about getting jobs. You don't network just to put your name in for a job. You network to actually surround yourself with other coaches, people that you can trust, you can bounce ideas off. Also, gain coaching experience anywhere you can. Like, it's very important, as somebody who holds interviews for strength and conditioning coaches and everything else, this is one of the things I look for. Yes, look for what's your qualifications. You also look at what's your experience. That doesn't have to be with a professional team. It's how you've gone out there, how you start coaching. So it doesn't matter whether it's the local under 17 camogie team. Get out there, coach, get your coaching hours in. Very, very important that you actually coach as much as you possibly can to gain the experience that you need. Okay? Using other coaches to soundboard ideas, and I kind of touched on that. Like, a lot of you probably are in WhatsApp groups in college, you know, stay in them. With whoever you're working with, bounce ideas off. You've got a season plan, put it up there. Don't be afraid to have people criticize it or anything else. It's very important that you bounce ideas. I still, to this day, read Des Ryan and ask him about a particular thing. That's what we do. You don't be insular in your thinking. You actually need other people to ask questions. Why are you doing this? You know? And also keep learning as you develop. Learning is a huge part. Whether that be other courses that you feel you undertake, or whether that be learning as you go on the job. If you go coaching, you will learn constantly. That's what you need to do. Okay? So just before I finish, I just want to say thanks to everybody, but also well done to everybody, and congratulations to everybody on your achievements today. Very well done, and thanks for your time. Okay?
Thank you, Dave, and I think you'll all agree that it's an inspiring journey for Dave and how he's come to where he is, and the people that he's affected from their rising up through their careers as well. So Dave isn't just here as a guest speaker, he's also here as to receive recognition from Setanta College. I'm going to ask Ronan Hogan to come up. Before we make the award to Dave, I just have a few words from Professor Liam Hennessy. And I'm just going to read that out, and then I'm going to hand over to Ronan. I recall the day when Dave decided he was going on a mission. That mission was to start a sub-academy development programme that had not been in place anywhere in rural rugby, or for that matter in any sport. To this day, that decision has been without argument the most significant decision and factor taken in the modern game, and it has unquestionably facilitated Ireland to attain its current position as number one in a fiercely competitive world of rugby union. Having coached and trained young and not so young players through to the highest level of rugby union for nearly 30 years, and having mentored, supported and encouraged coaches in a wide range of sports along their pathways, we want to honour today Dave and his outstanding contribution to the industry that is strength and conditioning. Ronan. And now, just before we finish, just to let you know, for the students, if the students could stay, there will be a group photo after we finish here. But before we finish, I just again would like to bring in just a few words from Professor Liam Hennessy, just to finish off. And he says, I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate all graduates today on your achievement. Indeed, special mention should be made to all who support and continue to support you, your friends, partners, families, husbands, wives, and your fellow coaches and athletes on your journey. I also wish to thank staff at Setanta for their support and input into your journey. I would love to be present and to greet you and congratulate you face to face, but unfortunately I could not make it this time. And that's from Liam. So just finally, congratulations again. A superb day, and well done, and the very best of luck with your careers. And we're finished now, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.